Anakin in 1, 2, and 3 starts out with very light colored clothes. So actually, this in episode 1 is the same color as Luke's clothes in episode 4.
Right.
Then you get episode 2, and you have Luke with a darker shade of clothing. It's like I don't know, it's like a darker brown. In episode 5, you get that. Episode 2, Anakin again, darker clothing. Then in episode 6 and 3, they both have like black clothing. Okay. And Anakin is actually unconventional for a Jedi to have darker clothing. It's supposed to be lighter, like Obi-Wan. And so what happened in 6 is they gave Luke actual black Jedi robes, which is, again, very unconventional. But it was supposed to symbolize that he was coming closer and closer to that pivotal moment where he's going to have to choose between the light and the dark. What happens, though, is there's a scene where Luke has a flap on his shirt fall down. You know what I'm talking about? It's white on the inside.
No,
so
I do not recall
in 6, when he's fighting Vader, his like clothing, like something happens and he's like getting beat up and a piece comes loose and you realize underneath that is white. And what that was supposed to symbolize, according to Lucas, was he wasn't turning to the dark side like his father had. So there's also that mirroring between him and Anakin. You also see at the beginning of 6, as opposed to the beginning of 3, you have Anakin who was growing into his power. He loses his hand just like Luke did. You see him because he's overconfident. Luke is overconfident 2 and 5. And they both get humbled by that experience. They realize, oh, we're not actually as strong as we thought we were. But in 6 and 3, it opens up with a demonstration of their power. You realize that they've come a long way from the last movie, and they've learned a lot, not just humility, although Anakin could probably still use a lot of that. But they've learned they're not as powerful as they thought they were, but they've also learned a lot more than that along the way. And so you see that with Luke in episode 6. I mean, there's little instances where he does things that are pretty impressive feats, even if the graphics and the choreography wasn't amazing. You have him constructing his final lightsaber, which Anakin did in 3 as well. They both lost their lightsaber in 2. They both get a new one in 3 and 6. He has that final confrontation. He has to make the decision to leave and go and do that. Anakin did the same thing in 3 when he left the Jedi Temple. Luke does it when he leaves Endor. The difference is the outcome of that situation. But when you look at all of the things that happened, I don't want to say it's like 7, because 7 copied 4, but in a bad way. But it's like a copy, but in a different way. They both go through these very similar character development arcs where like both Luke and Anakin wanted to leave at the beginning of 1. Anakin wanted to leave to become a Jedi. Luke wants to leave to join the rebellion and become a pilot. And so they both have these very similar arcs, which was purposeful. But the difference is Luke finishes his arc in a way that it was meant to be finished, and he ends up coming out on top at the end. And in the process, he ends up redeeming his father, who went through the almost exact same arc, but failed. And so he's like that. Yeah. He redeems even his father's arc because he helps it, like, because Vader's arc's still going technically, but he helps resolve it in the end. So he resolves both of their arcs.
Well, you could argue that Luke's arc keeps going past episode 6 as well, you know, if you really think about it.
No, it
doesn't. Yeah. No, that's a great analysis. I think that's gives good merit to Luke's character and makes him even more remarkable as a character if you draw that comparison.